On Love and Hip Hop Atlanta, the team was getting ready for another routine day of filming when they had no idea that a moment of truth, a revelation so powerful and surprising that it would leave everyone in shock, was about to happen. No one could have foreseen this in the world of reality TV, where secrets are often exposed and drama is king. Lil Scrappy, the well-liked rapper and reality star, has long been known for his exaggerated character, who had battled the music business, the streets, and his personal demons. As Scrappy worked through the complexities of his family and business relationships, fans have followed his path to redemption. However, beneath the surface of his public character, a darker truth had been kept hidden for years. In the Love and Hip Hop franchise, Scrappy has established himself as a staple. Even though the studio was set up and the cameras were rolling, recording the usual chaos of performers preparing for scenes, one cast member wasn't getting ready. She stood alone, clearly nervous, but they expected the drama they were used to. She was Lil Scrappy's helper, a woman who had been his employee for too long, quietly carrying a heavy burden. For years, she worked in the background to keep Scrappy's world ordered and his business running smoothly, but she refused to remain in the background while the crew watched. Though I have never said anything before, the moment has come for the truth. Despite her trembling voice, she was adamant about coming out. She had been bothered by the words for too long, but they were hard for her to pronounce. Everyone's eyes were on her as the usual buzz of the set gave way to a frightening silence. She kept taking a deep breath, trying to steady herself with trembling hands, but she felt that something important was going to happen. For a long time, I had kept this to myself. What happened to the actors and crew? An important revelation was undoubtedly on the horizon. A few glanced at one another, unsure of what would happen. As those who had witnessed Scrappy's unpredictable actions both on and off screen braced themselves for their preconceived notions, she paused to gathering her thoughts. She quietly and passionately said the words that would change the play's destiny forever. One time, while Scrappy was drunk, he hurt me physically and lost control, and it occurred multiple times. Her eyes were full of unshed tears, and the assistant's remarks hung thick in the air as though time had frozen. She could sense everyone's attention, and the weight of the truth she was disclosing was almost too much for her to handle. Yet she persisted. She was only expressing her tale, which had long been kept hidden, and she wasn't attempting to disparage Scrappy or make an effort to win sympathy or attention. She spoke in a tearful voice. I didn't want to speak out. I didn't want to hurt him. But that wasn't right. No one should have to endure that, especially when it was done out of loyalty. The once bright and talkative room has become a tense, quiet one. The reality was the assistant's eyes glowed with sadness as the terrible truth of Scrappy's actions hit everyone there. Viewers have been captivated by Scrappy's charm and his issues. Began to explain the awful things that had happened. She described how Scrappy would often return home after a night of drinking already furious. Everything seemed to spiral out of control at those moments. The man she had previously trusted and who had been like family to her was gone, a shadow of anger and booze. Additionally, there were moments when he was unaware of his own strength. She continued in a faltering voice, I know he didn't mean to hurt me, but when he was. Although several cast members had noticed Scrappy's temper during difficult situations or heated fights, none of them had expected the betrayal that Scrappy, whom they all thought they knew, had personally harmed someone so dear to him. The cast members were shocked by the assistant's openness and vulnerability. He'd appeared to be drunk and unable to control himself. In the days following Scrappy's departure from the set, the tension that had been simmering beneath the surface grew more noticeable as the show's crew continued to record. Everyone was waiting for Scrappy to face the issue, stand up for himself, or offer an apology to the hip-hop and love communities. In Atlanta, conflict was nothing uncommon, but this particular drama went beyond entertainment to have real-world consequences. The bravery of the assistant in speaking up wasn't without consequences. While several cast members and fans praised her for her courage, there was no denying the impact of what she said. People began to question if she was speaking up out of a genuine desire to assist people or if this was only a publicity stunt. Ignoring abuse in any form, under any circumstances, was never acceptable. The foundation of Scrappy's fame used to be his music, occupation, and the general public. Fans and cast members were left wondering how Scrappy would respond in the next episodes. Would he take responsibility for his acts, or would he continue to remove himself from the reality in an emotional confrontation with his close friends and family, or would he dispute the accusations? Persona, the formerly endearing character who had gained a lot of admirers, was now forced to face the terrible truth of the charges against him. Finally, Scrappy admitted that. His apologies, meanwhile, elicited conflicting responses. Some saw it as a positive move, an indication that Scrappy was prepared to face his history. Others believed that words alone couldn't repair the harm that had been done. His previous errors, motivated by rage and intoxication, had cost him dearly. He'd apologized for the suffering he had inflicted on everyone in his life, including his assistant. Released from the weight of the secret, the assistant began to recover after speaking her truth. She hoped that her story would inspire those who were suffering in silence and increase awareness of the issue of abuse, which she had carried for a long time and found strength in as the show progressed. The consequences of this discovery were still affecting everyone's lives. One thing was clear, the truth had come to light, even though it was unknown how Scrappy would be able to turn his life around and restore his job and relationships. There was no turning back now. The episode ended with a hauntingly quiet scene. Scrappy's path to recovery was only getting started, but for the audience, Love and Hip Hop Atlanta's drama had escalated to a new level of intensity that touched on the brutal realities of life and transcended reality TV. The assistant's expression was captured on camera, her eyes displaying the strain of everything she had endured.